neighbors, nieces, nephews. Welcome to I Got Five on It, where I take hot takes or different topics I want to talk about. And, I try to break it down in 5 minutes or less. And if I go over, just bear with me. I'm human. I think I went over it on the last video, but it's okay. But today we kind of having a real, I don't want to say political, because, you know, we're not talking about politics per se. But I was watching Night School with Dark Lamont Hill, aka Mark Lamont Hill and Michael Eric Dyson. Shout out to both of those brothers, well educated, well informed, knowledgeable. They had a conversation basically about the black church. And during this climate, I've been real critical. Then you got Drewski that released that whole clip that, kind of had the church world flipped upside down. So, and it kind of had me thinking like, would Jesus want the preachers and pastors to kind of speak activism into them? Like, would Jesus be an activist? And what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? And out of my curiosity and pondering my brain, guess who I chose to ask? ChatGPT. I know, frowned upon, but I had to just see what ChatGPT would say, and this is what it said. So first, was Jesus an activist? There's a question people tend to avoid, especially in church spaces. Was Jesus an activist? And I think people avoid it because of what the answer might require from us. We hear activists, we think protests, signs, politics, movements, but strip the word down to its core. An activist is someone who publicly challenges unjust systems and stands with people harmed by them. By that definition, Jesus fits. And I always felt that way. So it's like when you hear these words, and it's kind of like donate your money. Um, hey, it's kind of like those same teachers of motivation. But I feel like in certain climates, Jesus is asking something different of his people. And I feel like a lot of pastors and preachers don't speak to that or create the resources with their money, even if they have millions are coming in, big, elaborate churches, no resources, no Q1 we're doing this, Q2 we're doing this. This is what we're doing for the whole year. This is what we're raising donations for. I don't see a lot of that. And especially during this time where the stripping of resources is happening, um, black and brown communities are being targeted. ICE agents are doing God knows what. We have who's in office right now. But I'm gonna keep going. All right. Jesus didn't campaign. He didn't align with parties, but he consistently confronted religious leaders who protected themselves instead of people. He disrupted economic practices that exploited the poor. He centered immigrants, prisoners, women, children, and the sick. People society treated as expendable. All right, here goes the historical grounding. And it's important to say this clearly. Rome didn't crucify teachers who stayed in their lane. They crucified people who threatened the social order. Jesus wasn't killed for being kind, he was killed for being disruptive. And just you listening to this, ask yourself a question. Do you feel like these pastors and preachers are really being disruptive? And I watch a lot of them. I feel like in Mike Todd, this hurts for me to say, I watch you often, but during this time, I did expect something out of you that I didn't get, unfortunately, which, like I said, it's unfortunate to get. You just think certain people have that certain thing. And the fact that you haven't really gave me that, it makes me hard to watch you. It seems like most of your sermons are catered to a rollout of some sort. And I could be wrong. Like I said, I love Mike Todd, even though with some of the things he's done, I know he's like a passionate creative and sometimes creative in Jesus. God, it don't really work out that way because you get more in your creative bag than, you know. But that's neither here nor there. So this is the closing takeaway that they said about that, and we're gonna get to the next segment of this. So, no, Jesus wasn't an activist in the modern sense, but he was a truth teller who challenged power. And the discomfort we feel asking this question might tell us more about us than about him. All right. So part two, you know, part two is what would Jesus expect from the church right now, which is very, very important. It's kind of like, all right, here's the action, right? In moments like this, political tension, corruption, abuse of power, people often ask, what should the church be doing? And more honestly, what would Jesus actually expect from it? Resources and responsibility is the section that we're about to go into. Jesus never treated church resources as decoration or security blankets. He treated them as tools. When people were hungry, he fed them. When people were harmed, he intervened. When systems failed, he didn't spiritualize the damage, he responded to it. He responded to it. Responded with action. You hear me? That means, yes, Jesus would expect the church to use its resources, money, buildings, influence people, not to hoard them, not protect them, use them. Or it's not hoard them, not protect them, use them. Pastoral guidance during crisis, very important. And yes, Jesus would expect pastors and preachers to offer guidance during difficult times, not partisan talking points. Not partisan talking points. Do you hear me? But more clarity. They give us some examples. How do we respond to injustice without becoming cruel? When does silence become complicity? What does faithfulness look like when systems harm people? All right. That guidance would absolutely include action. Sometimes the action looks like protest, peaceful public resistance to harm. Sometimes it looks like organizing, building community solutions where systems fail. Sometimes it's like churches creating mutual aid, legal support, housing help, or protection for vulnerable people. Jesus never modeled a faith that stopped at prayer. We need some ChatGPT finger snaps. You know what I mean? And here's the close, and we're gonna close it out. The church was never meant to be a place people escape reality. It was meant to be a place where people learn how to live faithfully inside it. Faith that never moves your feet isn't faith. It's avoidance. Big mic drop, man. Big mic drop. Let me know how y'all feel about what I just said, man. Let me know if there is any churches that you feel are along this pathway right here. Please name them in the comments. I would love to, witness those churches. Maybe they have a virtual live on YouTube and stuff. I would love to view those. But let me know what y'all think, man. Is the church, especially the black church, because I'm black, so I don't really know what they do. But what I've been seeing that they do is crazy, and I don't want to go. But there are some that are great. But let me know what y'all feel about the black church right now, man, or just church in general, like as a spiritual or religious person.